Language is not just a tool for communication, but a lens that shapes our view of the world. It influences the way we experience physical reality, our relationships with other people, and even the breeze on a sunny day. In this video, we have explored the unique lexicology of Native American languages and how it frames one's worldview. Native American languages have a unique structure that differs greatly from English, and this structure has a profound impact on how Native Americans perceive and interact with the world around them. One major difference is the concept of animacy. Every object and entity is classified as either animate or inanimate, regardless of whether it is alive or not in these languages. This is reflected in the sentence structure, which places the animate subject first, followed by the verb and then the object. For example, in English, we might say, I see a bird flying, but in the Arapaho language, the sentence structure would be structured as, flying bird reveals itself to me. This puts the focus on the bird as the animate subject rather than on the act of seeing. Another difference is the emphasis on verbs rather than nouns. In English, we tend to describe things using nouns such as tree or house, but in many Native American languages, verbs are used to describe the relationship between objects and events. For example, instead of saying, I have a house, in the Navajo language, it would be more accurate to say, there is a house where I stay. The emphasis on verbs especially transforms how one experiences emotional states, such as love and happiness. Instead of using nouns to describe these concepts, they are often conveyed through the use of verbs and actions. For example, in the Navajo language, the verb hosho is used to describe the state of being in balance, harmony, and beauty, which is often associated with happiness. Similarly, the Cherokee language uses the verb sodu to describe the act of loving or showing affection towards someone or something. These verbs highlight the dynamic and active nature of these emotional states and emphasize the importance of actively working towards achieving them rather than passively possessing them. This emphasis on verbs also extends to the way time is described. In English, we use tenses to indicate when an action occurred, such as I walked to the store yesterday. But in some Native American languages, time is described as a cycle with no fixed beginning or end. For example, in the Hopi language, the phrase Kuya Diwa Katsina means the spirit that always returns. Possession is also viewed differently in Native American languages. Many tribes believed that the land was not something that could be owned or possessed, but rather something that was shared and cared for. This reflects in the language where there is no word for ownership or property of land. Instead, land is often described as a living entity with its own spirit, to which humans have a responsibility to care for. All of these linguistic features combined create a worldview that is vastly different from English. Native Americans see themselves as a part of a greater whole, interconnected with the world around them. Time is viewed as a cyclical rather than linear, and the concept of ownership is replaced with one of stewardship. The structure of Native American languages differs greatly from English, particularly in the concepts of animacy, emphasis on verbs, cyclical time, and possession. These linguistic features combine to create a worldview that emphasizes interconnectedness, stewardship, and a sense of belonging to a greater whole. This worldview is reflected in many aspects of Native American culture, from their treatment of the land and animals to their approach to birth and death, and their relationships with other tribes and peoples. By understanding the structure of Native American languages and how it shapes their experience of the world, we can gain a deeper appreciation for their rich culture and unique perspective. It is important to recognize and celebrate the diversity of languages and cultures in the world as they enrich our collective human experience.